I'm not a stupid person. No doubt many of you will disagree when you understand the situation in which I find myself. I had the arrogance to believe that I was observant and insightful. If this were true, things would have happened completely differently. From the very beginning, I knew Carol was capricious. She was ready to do anything to satisfy her desires. That's exactly what she did when we were dating. This single-mindedness of hers in pursuit of a goal seemed almost admirable. When she decided she needed me, she pursued her goal relentlessly. This was, of course, flattering, but she was also very attractive, intelligent, and had a wide range of interests. She had a very beautiful body, and this immediately attracted attention to her, and then her other qualities were revealed. She bought clothes that were short, low-cut, and tight-fitting. Of course, men noticed and admired her, and women envied her. She watched her diet to make sure she was attractive. None of my assurances convinced her. She needed verification from outside attention. We had a good marriage, but our blissful, perfectly happy marital existence was disrupted when I took a job at a computer consulting firm that involved a lot of out-of-town travel. There was nothing we could do about it. There were few jobs, let alone good jobs, and we couldn't pay the bills with Carol's income alone. Although we didn't have children, it was in our plans. One evening on a trip, I saw two gorgeous young blondes showing off in Red Omar. They walked slowly and swayed gracefully. I sat at the table alone and waited for my food, alone with my thoughts. I was lonely. People were talking, laughing, perhaps touching each other while talking. Sometimes I noticed that someone was looking at me. As they walked by, blondes cast me sidelong glances, as if meeting my gaze would explain why I was alone. When you're happily married and on the road, the emptiness of the experience is easy to recognize. You can call your wife every evening. What can you say about your day? I had lunch alone, went back to work, and realized that most of the sales information could be transferred to the marketing department. You can tell her that you had dinner at a restaurant last night and went back to your room to watch TV. You ask how her day was without you. At least she has friends at home. You are alone. You will see several attractive young women during the trip. You can't date them. Even if they were willing to save them from loneliness, it would be unfair to them. There is no telling where the relationship will lead, and it would also be unfair to the wife. In a hotel bar, being around other living, breathing, talking, laughing, people is the best reminder that there is life to be a part of someday. Sometimes there is an opportunity to dance with someone. What a refreshing change it is to be able to chat. This does not obligate you to anything, but this is human contact. Perhaps I'm exaggerating a little. I remember 3 evenings in order to distinguish them with sufficient clarity from all other formless evenings. Carol noticed the impact travel had on me. Every now and then she would slip something into my suitcase to cheer me up. Sometimes a chocolate bar, sometimes a note to remind me that she missed me too. One day she left a note that promised me a surprise. It was my 3rd week in Chicago, and I had dinner at the hotel restaurant. While waiting for the onion soup, looking at the other customers and wondering what they thought about the lonely guy, I heard a woman's voice to the left. Simon Newsome. I turned around to see an attractive brunette, 5'4", early 30s, with a wedding ring on her left ring finger. Stupid, isn't it? This glance to check is almost involuntary. Sorry, I can't remember the face. Do I know you? No, you don't know. My name is Annie Carson. My old friend Carol Newsome invited me to dinner with you today. She had a different name when we were friends in college, but I heard that she has since married a handsome guy. Do you mind if I join you? Of course not. I was stunned. Carol said you spend a lot of time alone and she wanted some company for once. Wow, she's great. Yes, you are lucky. Marvelous. I think this is the most incredible gift I have ever received. You don't even know half of it. She harassed me until I changed my schedule to meet you here. Carol can't take no for an answer. It took her 5 phone calls. It's nice to feel her care. This is true. You know, you have a nice smile, Simon. Don't forget to tell Carol this. I'll have to thank her properly when I get home. She mentioned it. She said she'll be waiting for you in her little black nightie when you get home. An attractive man approached our table. Men don't interest me, but I know how to evaluate men. Simon, this is my husband, Richard. I stood up and we shook hands. You seem surprised, Simon, she said. Did you really think that your wife was going to set you up with a beautiful seductress while you were alone and far from home? She giggled. Richard is here with us. You didn't have any indecent thoughts, did you? Of course not, I muttered. You are very emotional. Carol was right. I spent one of my best evenings on the road just having dinner with Annie and Richard. It wasn't just that I was dining with nice company. Carol was caring enough to make everything happen. When I returned home, I thanked her profusely. On another trip, a memorable incident occurred. I had just finished swing dancing with a woman in her 40s whose husband was more interested in drinking than dancing. They were both grateful that I danced with her, although for completely different reasons. It's so nice to dance with an attractive young man, she told me. I'm not that young, and you're not old at all. You look like you just graduated from college. That makes me think you may have had too much to drink. She laughed. It was an attractive laugh. I'm 35. College was quite a long time ago. She looked back at her sleeping husband. If I were a few years younger and Fred weren't here, I would show you an unforgettable night. I'm married and I won't forget about it. She let out a long, contented sigh. Your wife is a happy woman. I just want to go home. But you helped make my absence more bearable. Thank you for dancing with me. Maybe Fred feels some of his wife's absence. I wish I could, she said, reluctantly returning to him. I returned to my glass. I'm not as good looking as she said. The only thing that's notable about me is that I have a pretty good physique. I looked up from my glass and saw a bright red-haired girl carrying a glass and purposefully moving in my direction. Some lucky person will receive some very nice attention. It turned out to be me. Hi, I am Sandy. She extended her hand to me. You are good at dancing. Do you mind if I sit down and talk for a while? Mind. She was the most gorgeous woman I have ever seen on the road. She was a fantasy come true. Of course, if you want. With pleasure. This was a significant understatement. I rarely leave the house and I thought it would be nice to talk and maybe dance with a nice young guy. Either I inhabited someone else's body or someone stamped young guy on my forehead. She was no more than 25 years old and could have had any guy. Why did she come to me? Well, you're lucky. I can dance and talk. Sometimes at the same time. And a sense of humor too. Just the kind of guy I'd like to spend some time with. Having said this, she touched my hand for a moment. I didn't know what to answer. There were younger, prettier guys there. How did she focus on me? My curiosity and suspicion resulted in a silence that threatened to drag on. She saved the day. Why don't we dance? I stood up and extended my hand to her. We went out onto the dance floor to jump around a bit. When the dance ended, the orchestra switched to something slow. I tried to go back to the table, but she grabbed my left arm and put her arm around my neck. Fine, I can dance slow dances. Sandy didn't seem to realize it was a dance. She turned her head towards me so that her right cheek was pressed against mine. She released my left hand with her right and also wrapped it around my neck. She moved closer and suddenly my breasts grew, although in the wrong direction. When she moved her hips, it stopped being a dance and became a frottage. This made me feel very uncomfortable, especially when I realized that if this continued, I would likely exhibit a socially undesirable reaction. Luckily, the song ended before I gave up and I was able to get back to the table. If I were alone, we would immediately go to my room. I would capitulate to this irresistible beauty and throw caution to the wind. But I was not alone, and this presented an insurmountable obstacle for me. You know my name, but I don't know yours. There may be something exciting and dangerous about it, but I think I'd rather know your name if you're willing to introduce yourself. I'm Simon. I find you very attractive, Simon. Why? Maybe she's just a hot, lonely girl who wants sex. But the question remained, why me? My radar was activated. Something was wrong here. although I couldn't put my finger on what it was. In the meantime, I had nothing to lose by accepting the compliment. Thank you. It's very nice of you. I'm very serious, Simon. She took my hands in hers. I would love to spend the night with you. Why? Am I some kind of idiot? A stunningly beautiful woman wants to spend the night with me, and my reaction is to look around for a hidden camera. However, it didn't matter. Even if my radar had not been activated, this invitation had a predetermined permission. I'm drawn to you too, Sandy. Hell, so are all the men here, and probably quite a few women. But I'm married. I know. I saw the ring. Obviously, you're here alone. You left on business. It's just a fling. She'll never know. What's bad about it? I'll know. It doesn't matter whether she finds out or not. Relax. You are here alone. You spend all your time on the road. You deserve a distraction. And I'm sure I'll have a good time too. Sorry, Sandy, I can't. I'm not even really sorry. It's just not my thing. As you wish, Simon. As you wish. I can be unforgettable. She spoke sincerely and seductively. She knew how to get to the man. It is quite possible that she has never been refused in her life, still. I made several promises when I got married, and one of them concerns this situation, Sandy. When I make a promise and it is within my power to keep it, I keep it. You are the most beautiful, sensual, seductive woman I have ever met, including my wife. God knows I will remember the missed opportunity, but I will not break my word. She seemed very surprised, and yet she seemed pleased with something. I couldn't explain it, but I'm sure that's what I saw. I'm very sorry to hear that, but I understand. Your wife is a happy woman. You are the second woman to say this today. Can I get a review to take home? What a delightful laugh she had. Don't worry, I will outline everything in my report, and a sense of humor too. You will need the correct spelling of my name. As pleasant as this joke was, I apologized and returned to the room. To someone watching from the outside, it would appear that Carol was the dominant partner in our relationship. Come to think of it, Carol probably thought so too. She usually got her way. It's not that I didn't have the courage to stand up to her. The thing is, the things we disagreed about were usually much more important to Carol than to me. For example, I don't know why, but I can't stand the greenery in the house. It's a great color for the woods, but I don't think it should be indoors. Even though Carol knew it, her heart was on the lime green sofa. To me, it was vomit green confirmation of bad taste. But it made her happy, and I left often enough to be okay with it. I must have seemed even more spineless when it came time for Carol to change the car. Carol dreamed with all her heart of having a Ford Explorer SUV. She claimed that the planet would be able to digest it because I was controlling a hybrid. I did not agree with her, but in the end I decided that this was not an issue on which I could not concede. Like I said, Carol was relentless when she wanted something. But to her surprise, she discovered that I was not a complete weakling at everything. If the matter was important enough to me, I could be more than intractable. I think she came to this conclusion the day she told me she wanted to buy super expensive lingerie. I told her we couldn't afford it. She immediately rushed into battle. I know we can afford it. You can write off your expenses for the company. Below a certain amount, they don't even require receipts. This is theft. They expect honesty. Don't be so naive. Everyone does it. But not me. Don't give me so much trouble. You always give me so much trouble. I ask for something trivial, and you get in my face with this honesty, no matter what. Do you hear what you say? No need to shout, she said. Do you think this is a scream? Keep it up and you'll hear screams. You are petty, capricious, cruel, and incredibly selfish. You want me to give up my self-respect for a fucking nightgown? I know how you can afford it. Divorce me and you will get enough money to buy whatever you want. You're always pushing the boundaries, Carol, and this time, you've gone too far. What are you, a teenager? Calm down. It's not that important. Lord, don't talk about divorce over a nightgown. Let's talk about escalating the dispute. Where did the divorce come from? When you tell me that I have to break my beliefs in order for you to be happy, the only logical answer is that you have to be happy without me, because I won't. Sorry for asking. I didn't think so. Of course, I wouldn't want you to break your beliefs. I just didn't think about it that way. Please, lingerie is not as important to me as it is to you. I'll prove it to you. Carol began to unbutton her blouse. It was just weird. She took off her blouse and bra. Her arguments seemed a little more convincing to me. Now I'll burn it. I want to show how much it doesn't matter to me. I grabbed my bra, but she dodged it. This is stupid, Carol. I'm going to burn it. I ran after her and she ran across the bed to escape. I realized that I am no longer angry. I managed to grab her and she started laughing. It was infectious. We buried the hatchets. Then I remembered this argument. I couldn't believe how far she was willing to go to get what she wanted. I believed that this was a fight which she had decided she could not win, and it would be better for her future claims if she retreated as quickly and completely as she could. Maybe I'm just a suspicious guy. Of course, I myself was surprised by this argument. She was right about the escalation. I jumped from persuasion to threats of divorce. Was it all disproportionate? More likely. Am I serious? I don't know. My reaction was intuitive and not logical. I hoped she didn't think she could always win an argument just by taking her clothes off. Such disputes happened infrequently and were unimportant compared to the good times. We are with Carol. We took advantage of the weekend by spending as much time together as possible. By no means was this a naked, stay-at-home weekend. I didn't marry her to be a fuck toy. I appreciated her friendship, intelligence, and generosity, except when she tried to get something out of me. The movies, museums, games, and dinners I had to spend alone out of town were made up with her on weekends and on those rare days when I was working on site or was free due to a lack of assignment. I thought we were happy. I may even have been right about this, despite subsequent events that cast doubt on this belief. One day on the weekend, lying naked and sweaty, she surprised me. Some girls at work told me that their husbands dream of seeing them with another man. What about your fantasies? No? Is this what their husbands really dreamed of? Some even more than they imagined? Really? I do not understand this. Why not just stay alone if you want to be with others? They say they are excited to see their wives having so much fun. Wouldn't you like to see your sweetheart in ecstasy? I chuckled and lifted the blanket. Does this idea seem to interest me? Maybe you don't want to just watch. Maybe you'd like to join. Are you asking permission? Maybe. Ask your next husband. The current one has no interest. If I wanted us to have sex with someone, we would be alone. God knows I've had a lot of opportunities along the way, but that's not something I'll ever do. You just don't know when to stop, do you? Oh, calm down. I'm just kidding. Some girls told me about this, and I thought it would be fun to tease you. Are you always so serious? Don't you understand jokes? Again, my suspicion told me that she sensed that she had gone too far, that I was on the verge of unbridled escalation, and she decided that it would be unwise to press the issue. On the other hand, sometimes I can be too serious. In fact, if I found out that you were cheating on me, I would very seriously think about leaving you. At least I would get some serious revenge somehow. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. I'm not interested in anyone but you, Carol. You better not do this. I wanted to understand this better. Is this just a fantasy, Carol? Is this something I was overreacting to? I wouldn't want you to be afraid to express your fantasies. Fantasies exist only in the imagination. Everyone has fantasies. About? What do you dream about? Those fantasies that almost all heterosexual men have, being with two women, one of whom is you. But I will never do anything to make it happen. No, you won't. And no, it was not a fantasy. I told you I was just fooling around. But listen, if it makes you feel better, I'll burn my bra. This is not a solution to all problems. I'm just fooling around. Without any convincing evidence to the contrary, I did not continue. It was a Friday night in Evansville, Indiana, and I couldn't get on a plane until the morning. This was my 4th week on the road, and I was glad to be able to spend the week at home. Not only was I tired, but I was also in pain. My teeth have been hurting for the past 3 days, and today I picked up a prescription for Percocet and an antibiotic from my local dentist. Pain wears me down and affects my judgment. It is much more difficult to concentrate due to pain. Work was finished, and I had dinner at my hotel restaurant. It's not that I didn't eat, but I was supposed to take Percocet with food. Suddenly, a pair of female hands covered my eyes from behind. A pair of breasts pressed against my back. I felt her soft hair touch my neck as she spoke softly into my ear. Imagine that we met here, strangers. I immediately recognized this voice. Nicole, what are you doing in Evansville? It was too easy. She pretended to pout. Travel for work. I'm coming back tomorrow. What about you? Me too. I've been working here for about 4 weeks now. You know how often I get sent away. She knew because she was my wife's best friend. Does Carol know you're here? Did she send you? I don't think she even knows I'm out of town. Have you eaten yet? Would you like to join me? I don't know. I do not want to be a burden. It was a very pleasant surprise. I liked Nicole. She was fun to be with. Even if it wasn't, it was much better than being alone. This turned out to be much better. Dinner paled in comparison to the sparkling conversation. Did Carol send Nicole like she sent Annie, just so I could have another good evening? What a caring wife I have. After dinner, we danced a little. There were some slow dances, but Nicole didn't take the same liberties as Sandy. We returned to the table and ordered a cup of coffee. Nicole, I really enjoyed your company this evening. I hope I meet you again when I'm on the road. I also know what it's like to be alone on the road. No, you're lonely and sexy. I bet you don't often have dinner alone. Do you take sugar or cream? Sugar, I said. We sat for a while, sipped wine, and talked. I started to feel strange even though I had only drunk 1 glass. I'm not feeling very well, Nicole. I wonder if I should have stayed away from alcohol after taking Percocet. I didn't read the damn instructions. I think I better go back to my room. I'm sorry the evening ends so early. Hope you're feeling better. I started to get up, but felt dizzy and fell back into my seat. I'll help you get back to your room. I reluctantly accepted help, but my legs were shaking, and I felt uncharacteristically compliant. I accepted her offer. The side wall of the elevator really helped her keep me upright. She took my key card and showed me to my room. I felt strange, not sick, just weird. If it weren't for the extreme unsteadiness of my legs, I would have thought I was just a little tipsy. Percocet is a drug, isn't it? Thank you for helping me get back to my room. It was so great. She helped me get to bed. Are you feeling well? You're acting a little strange. I feel great. I had a big smile that just wouldn't go away. Let's dance. I tried to get up, but my legs wouldn't obey me. Be careful, she said. You are so cute. You are also very cute. She kissed me on the cheek. Thank you. I hugged her tightly. It must have been too long because at some point I realized I was hugging her and didn't remember when I started. I think I better put you to bed. No, I can do it myself. I lifted my leg with my hands, fell off the bed, and started laughing. For some reason that escapes me now, I found this hysterically funny. Of course you can. She sat down next to me on the floor and took off my shoes and socks. I was of little use. She took off my jacket with difficulty, stood up and hung it on the chair. Then she came back and helped me back onto the bed. After unbuttoning my pants and lowering my fly, she pushed me onto my back and tried to take off my pants. I couldn't help it. You're trying to seduce me. I also thought it was very funny, and I laughed until I lost my breath. I don't like the way you look. I'll stay for a while in case you need help. Cold. I just don't think I can leave you alone. Cold. I heard her walking around and most of the lights went out. After some time, I felt her in the bed. She moved closer to me and covered us with a blanket. I will stay here with you and take care of you. Cold. I was in a surprisingly good mood. I usually can't stand it when I don't have complete control over a situation. But for some reason, it didn't bother me now. She pressed closer and then I realized, hey, you don't have any clothes on. I don't want to crumple. It's a good idea. Just relax and rest. That's exactly what I did. I think I got some sleep. I woke up to Carol's kisses. I thought she wasn't there, but I must have been confused. Sometimes the days are confusing. Carol was especially passionate today. I think separation makes the heart grow fonder. And Lustier. My God, I don't remember the last time I felt such a need. She grabbed my buttocks and pulled me towards her. I felt everything. I smelled everything. I heard everything. Never before have my feelings been so acute. Carol, this is amazing. I've never felt so close to you. I'm not Carol. I'm Nicole. What am I doing? How did it happen? This was wrong. It's okay, Simon. Everything is fine. Everything was okay. I moved forward and was enveloped in a warm, sensual, and luxurious body. Carol Nicole was tired of this pace. Faster. It was more than a proposal. Faster. I can't. Okay, let's try it your way. As far as I could tell, my method worked quite well. It was tiring. I was asleep. It was morning. Sunlight streamed into the room. I stretched. I opened my eyes and looked at Carol, Nicole, who was downstairs. What the hell are you doing? What are you doing here? It's okay, Simon. Everything is not okay. I pulled the sheet over my lower body. My blood pressure jumped. My skin flared up. Everything is fine. You seduced me and I stayed the night. Did I seduce you? I don't. It was wonderful. I'm really sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please forgive me. I never intended to do this. I don't want to say there's anything wrong with you, but I love Carol. Oh God, what have I done? Do not apologize. You couldn't seduce me if I didn't want you to. I'm not upset at all. I feel great. Deep sadness and shame overwhelmed me. I spoke with such conviction, almost arrogance, about the impossibility of ever doing it, and I did it. It didn't matter that I failed Carol, but what was worse was that I failed myself. I was not the person I thought I was, and it devastated me. I'm just another asshole, like all the other assholes. Nicole tried to console me, but she lacked conviction. She seemed more pleased than sympathetic. What should I do? Have I really lost Carol? Did I really cost her Nicole's friendship? For now, I have decided to focus on returning home. She sat on the bed naked, pleading. So we'll repeat it? No, this shouldn't have happened. If I do this again, it will be even worse. I don't understand why I did this last night. The least I can do is stop doing wrong. Sorry, I'll just behave the right way. Nicole didn't answer, but her behavior changed. She was very positive and accepted the situation. But now, for some reason, she seemed sad. I think I can live with the guilt myself. But if Carol finds out, it will hurt her even more. You are her best friend. What do you think? I do not know what to tell you. I'm sure you guys will figure it out eventually. She seemed to want to say something else, but held back. There was pain in her eyes, perhaps regret. Are you okay?